Do you have what it takes to become a Spartan? If you answered yes, then I'd like to introduce you to the Spartan Training Program, a series of brutal physical augmentations and grueling training regimes designed to turn you, a regular Joe just trying to make your way in the galaxy, into a relentless machine of a super soldier capable of going toe-to-toe with vast swathes of alien troops and coming out on top. So if you're still set on this covenant-crushing career path, let me first lay out the Spartan creation process and how you would be best placed to pass it. So let's imagine you're just a regular guy or gal living on Earth, or one of humanity's various other far-flung colony worlds. Chances are you're not likely to ever see a Spartan, let alone become one. But if you were one of the rare few humans to be selected for Spartan training, well, the type of training you're about to face will vary based on which Spartan generation you're recruited into, as since the founding of the super soldiers in the early 24th century, there have been 4 unique Spartan generations, each with unique selection criteria, training, and augmentation, designed to create highly skilled super soldiers. The original Spartan generation, known as the Orion Project, was set up to combat insurgencies within humanity's colonies amongst the stars. Rather basic compared to later generations. To be selected for this program, you would need to be one of 65 selected Special Forces soldiers, who were active for the UNSC during its conflict against insurrectionist forces. Alternatively, you could be selected for the Generation 2 Spartans, initiated in 2517 to continue the UNSC's fight against insurrectionists. Gen 2 Spartan candidates were handpicked by Dr. Catherine Halsey. However, her selection criteria was rather specific, as due to the limitations faced in the Orion program, caused by selecting fully grown adults for augmentation and training, Halsey would only choose the most physically and intellectually gifted 6-year-olds for admission into the Spartan Gen 2 training, abducting children from Earth and humanity's other worlds, leaving in their place flash clones, who would die not long after. To ensure that these children at least had a chance at surviving the Spartan program, they each had to possess a set of psychological and genetic markers listed out by Dr. Halsey, screening the children for signs of remarkable strength, agility, aggression, and intellect. The Gen 3 Spartan program would follow a similar selection process. Set up after the outbreak of the Human Covenant War, the young children recruited into this iteration of the training were selected from war-battered colony worlds, children who had lost their families to Covenant attacks and were filled with a burning hatred for the alien menace, making them the perfect disposable troops for high-risk suicide missions to take out leading Covenant figures. Now, seeing as none of you watching this video are highly trained UNSC Special Forces veterans, or according to my YouTube demographics, 6-year-olds, I highly doubt many of the previous generations of Spartan programs would be applicable to you. The 4th generation of Spartan training, however, well, the selection criteria for Gen 4s was much more welcoming, having honed both the augmentation and training process over previous generations. The production of new Spartan soldiers became much more cost-effective and a lot easier. No longer limited to child candidates, the 4th generation of the Spartan program could be run on fully grown UNSC troops who have achieved greatness on the battlefield. And while the selection criteria for each generation does vary greatly, most candidates entering Spartan training have a couple of things in common. Namely, they each possess exceptional willpower, focus, and bravery. And if you've met this criterion, then congrats, you've been selected for Spartan training. No matter which generation of the program you've entered, your training will begin with you being swept off to some far-off corner of the galaxy, to a specially built training facility or space base, built by the UNSC in partnership with one of humanity's many leading arms manufacturers. Because after all, if you do drop out or get hit by a stray Spartan laser during training, at least Mizrair Armory will get some useful training data out of your unfortunate demise. Now, whether you're one of the UNSC's stolen children or a willing volunteer, the training you're about to undergo is going to be tough. Tough enough to transform you from child to warrior, from average Joe to superhuman god of war. training will have a heavy focus on intense physical and team-based exercises, such as games of King of the Hill. Candidates were also placed in extremely dangerous scenarios and simulated war games against UNSC Marines, done in order to breed top-tier survival instincts. As part of your training, you'll be given access to some of the most cutting-edge warfighter technology and experienced commanders, helping turn you into a top-tier Special Forces soldier trained in multiple combat disciplines. There was of course also some differences in training depending on the Spartan generation you belong to. Those within the Orion project, for example, were already expertly trained soldiers, so they needed little additional combat training, while the child initiates of Gen 2 and 3 undergo additional education at the hands of an on-site AI teacher to teach them science, mathematics, history, and other skills. They are also schooled in the basics of warfare and weaponry by specialized instructors. And the veterans recruited into Gen 4 underwent training to help them get accustomed to their augmented bodies and familiarize them with the exotic alien weaponry they're sure to face, with Spartan 4's training primarily being in the form of advanced wargame simulations. This training is not without its downsides, however. For starters, it's incredibly grueling and dangerous. And in an effort to prevent the expertly trained killing machines from changing sides and being used against the UNSC implements a robust indoctrination program into the training, taking away some of your independent thought and breeding within you a desire to get the job done, no matter the cost. Whilst undergoing your training, you will also be subject to a series of physical and mental augmentations. Now, with each generation, these augmentations differ, but they all work towards the same goal, turning the candidate's body into something more than human. The augments do not come without a cost, however. They are excruciatingly painful and dangerous, as best seen with the Spartan 2s, who at the onset of puberty underwent a series of biochemical and biomechanical augmentation procedures, taking place alongside the implementation of the standard UNSC neural interface. The main augmentations included the occipital capillary reversal, a surgery on the capillaries around the visual processing center of the brain to reverse the blood flow and boost the flow beneath the subject's retina, increasing their ability to detect movement, light, and color, then relay the information back to the brain quicker. 11% of subjects end up with retinal detachment and permanent blindness. The catalytic thyroid implant is a process in which a platinum pellet containing human growth hormone is implanted into the left thyroid gland, done in order to boost the growth of skeletal structure and muscle tissue, making the subject larger and stronger. Side effects include a reduced sexual drive, and 2% of subjects acquire elephantitis. The carbide ceramic ossification procedure involves the exposure of the subject's bones and grafting onto them an advanced carbide ceramic material that makes the bones virtually unbreakable. Growth spurts that occur after this process can result in bone pulverization. Muscular enhancement injections apply a protein complex to the muscles to help increase muscle strength and endurance, increasing the density of muscle fibers and connective tissue. And a superconducting fibrification of neural dendrites procedure alters the nerves to provide a 300% increase to subjects' reflexes, alongside some reported intelligence, memory, and creativity boost, with some risk of developing Parkinson's disease or Fletcher syndrome. In total, 20% of Spartan 2s actually pass these procedures with no form of major or minor side effects, and there's an overall casualty rate of 56%. If you were to somehow pass this part of the process, you would then be required to rest and rehabilitate for several months as your body adjusts. But once you've stopped falling over yourself and gotten used to your new strength, you would be in possession of superhuman abilities beyond your wildest dreams, being capable of running at speeds over 34 miles per hour, lifting 3 times your body weight, and demonstrating a reaction time of 20 milliseconds, far faster than the average of 250 milliseconds. Subsequent generations of the Spartan program would go on to improve the augmentation process further. By the time of the Gen 3 Spartans, technological enhancements reduced the casualty rate of these augmentations down to virtually zero. with most of the procedures being chemically administered rather than surgically implanted. As for the Spartan 4s, well, due to the reintroduction of recruiting adults as candidates for the enhancements, an overhaul was required, as the augmentations couldn't be timed to coincide with puberty. Several workaround procedures were used to provide a similar, if albeit not as potent result, to those achieved in Spartan 2s and 3s. Bones and muscles are lengthened and stretched. The skeleton is reinforced with some kind of material, said to be stronger than steel, and joints are reinforced or replaced. Muscles are subjected to induced growth and injected with a material that allows them to work harder and boost muscle memory. Further to this, Spartan 4s also have a number of other augments, including the replacement or enhancement of most organs, allowing the Spartan to process airborne and consumed toxins, while also increasing oxygen intake. Corneal implants allow for better eyesight and night vision, while the heart is enhanced with a polythread weave, which increases its capacity to pump blood. The blood composition itself is modified for faster clotting around wounds, and immunity to most toxins. And alongside various other minor alterations such as gene therapy and biomonitoring implants, the gut bacteria is also altered to absorb more nutrients. And while Spartan 4s aren't as strong or fast as a Spartan 2, they still dwarf the capabilities of a normal soldier, and are more than capable of going toe-to-toe with the Covenant's elite forces. Their new enhancements also allow them to perform such feats as breathe methane for around an hour, eat a raw tree and convert it into 6 meals worth of calories, and even read the fine print of a contract from across the room. And any gulf in strength or speed for the Gen 4s is more than made up for by the powerful suits of Mjolnir armor worn by these Spartans, bridging the gulf and allowing the Spartan 4s to near match the capabilities of Spartan 2s. Getting used to these suits will comprise the final part of your training as a Spartan, training in these suits day in, day out, becoming one with the suit, until it feels like part of you. Because what's the use in all these years of training for you to just wander out into the battlefield and get hit by a stray needle to the head? If you want to know more about the Mjolnir armor and all their generations, well, we've got a video for that up here. But for now, your training is complete. Congratulations, Spartan. You've made the selection process, you've survived the augmentations, and you've passed training. Now go out there and try not to get taken out by a grunt with a plasma grenade. Which Spartan generation would you most want to be part of? Let me know down in the comments, and make sure to subscribe to Lore Tours and get your passport to your favourite fictional worlds. Thanks for watching, catch you next time.